we should not be buying options. If you want to go burn a couple $1,000s trying, go ahead. But then come back to real investing and you'll actually make real money. Because I understand Robinhood's business is why I don't fucking trust them. Your health and your relationships are probably the only thing that's more important than your wealth. But the idea of just saying I'm going to trade it all is insane. I can't even use the word invest here.
I can't even stomach using it.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Money Grooves, presented by flankinvesting.com. In today's episode, we're going to be covering the dark dystopian future that Vlad Tenev has painted in a recent interview with Fortune magazine.
Nice, can't wait.
Yeah. Elliot, we all know that a lot of things are changing right now. We have AI.
Definitely.
Yeah, AI is coming around. We have the greatest wealth transfer in human history happening as boomers are starting to die out. There's a lot of things in motion, and a lot of tech bros and finance bros are coming together, and they're having a lot of conversations about what this future looks like. And in a recent interview with Bloomberg, Vlad Tenev said, quote, "We can't rely on labor to generate money to make a living." And so he's seeing a future in which people just invest all day.
Great, sounds great.
That sounds like a great idea,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
when you own the casino that he's asking everyone to play at all the time.
Right. Come, let me show you how. Come to my AI.
Yeah, and buy some crypto, do some
Right.
options contracts. Right. Yeah. I listened to the entire interview, and the whole interview wasn't bad. I don't want to make this episode into a hit piece, but I really want to dial in on something that he said.
So I think it's going to become more important to invest because if you can't rely on labor to generate money to make a living, capital becomes more important. And so we're going to have to make it easier for people to learn about investing, invest from an early age, get their kids investing. And I think it's going to be private industry like Robinhood, also the government that's going to have to step in. And I think you're seeing the beginnings of this shift.
He's basically saying that we're going to be able to just invest all day, and that doesn't make sense, especially with you look at the system that Robinhood has created.
Sure.
Can you imagine being a plumber by day and then a trader by night
And trying to base your livelihood off of making decisions and making investments and trying to do it in such a way that you can replace your income? It would be hard to do.
No, yeah, it's almost impossible,
Yeah.
especially if you look at the friction of trading, right? I mean, even if you look at the tax implication of it,
Right.
if you're trading, you're looking at short-term capital gains. That means 33% of your income's immediately going as taxable.
And also, not very many people have the capital lying around to make sizable investments such that they could make money
To generate a
very
living.
quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to
Right.
have a strong nest egg before you can do that.
Right.
But he's talking his own book, right? There's no question. He's saying this because he wants.
Yeah. Do you think he's trying to get people to use Robinhood?
Yeah, I think so. I watched the entire interview, and we'll link it in the show notes. But what he's saying, I agree with. That I do think that in the age of AI, we are going to be able to invest. We are going to have more free time,
For sure.
and
100%.
capital is going to be more available.
And also access to knowledge too, right? You can use AI to invest. You can use AI to research. You can use it to look at what your options are, pun intended. You can use it to do all kinds of things much more quickly and in a much more tailored, specific way than you can now.
But trading is not going to be the way that happens. There's no.
Not everybody's going to become a trader overnight.
No, and also 99% of day traders lose money, right? There's a stark difference between investing and trading. Investing is for the long term. Trading is literally just trying to find some arbitrage in the market,
Right.
or really it's just gambling.
Right.
It's just hope, bet on red.
Right.
Oh, red went up, red hit. Okay, cool. Now I made some money, or I missed, and then he's not even talking about the risk of total loss of capital when you're trading. It's just there's so many flaws in that statement. But the heart of what he was trying to say was that yes, we are experiencing the greatest wealth transfer of history as boomers start to die out. We'll touch on that more later. But then also that AI is coming for white collar jobs.
Right.
There's no question there. Which goes into the idea of universal basic income. For those who don't know, UBI is this idea that you get a paycheck for just existing, right? And in 2024, Musk went live at the Viva Tech conference in Paris, and he had this to say.
In a benign scenario, probably none of us will have a job. But in that benign scenario, there will be universal high income, not universal basic income, universal high income. There will be no shortage of goods or services. And I think the benign scenario is the most likely scenario. The question will really be one of meaning, of if the computer can do, and the robots can do everything better than you, then does your life have meaning?
Wow, deep stuff.
Yeah, I wonder how much ketamine he was on when he gave that.
Right.
But personal opinions on Musk aside, there's no question he's a visionary.
Yeah, sure.
And I agree. If artificial intelligence and robotics can do most of 90% of the things that we have to do in our jobs, we are going to have more space for creativity. We're going to have more space for investing. It's kind of the whole premise of Flink investing is this stuff isn't that hard. You can do it.
Well, it seems like a wild idea, but if you think about where we're at today and all the things that have been replaced, it's really not all that outrageous to say things like that, right? Like, look at, for example, learning to use a paper map. Look at handwriting. Those things have all existed for a long time before now, but few and fewer people today probably know how to use a paper map because we have maps on our phone.
Yeah, they don't even teach cursive anymore.
Fewer and fewer people need to have great, beautiful handwriting because it's less and less the main mode of communication. So it's not crazy to think that in the future, things that we think will never go away today, like, oh, this will be around forever. It's actually not that crazy to think because it happens all the time, and it already has happened to many things that I'm sure others before us have said that will never go away.
Yeah, just like our teachers used to tell us, you'll never have a calculator in your pocket.
You're never gonna. You need to do this because you're not gonna have a calculator. And then all of a sudden, what do you mean? I have a calculator in my pocket at all times.
All times. I just want to be clear before we move on to the next segment that in the way that Robinhood exists today, there is a 0% chance that someone will be able to rely on trading for their source of income. It's a great nest egg. We should all be investing. We should all know about our investments. There's nothing, your health and your relationships are probably the only thing that's more important than your wealth.
Right.
And so, but the idea of just saying I'm going to trade it all is insane. And investing, there's ups and downs in investing. You couldn't rely on that for a source of income, right? You never want to be dependent on your next investment to either to decide whether or not you can eat the next day. Right. That's bonkers.
Do you think there is a way that Robinhood could be somebody's main source of income?
If they have a large capital base, like if they come from wealth, or if they have a large nest egg and reliable cash flow to fund living, it'd be hard. Like I don't think it's possible.
Sure.
On the topic of that nest egg, you want to hear a really, really big number?
Yeah, let's hear it.
$124 trillion.
Oh, that bounced my savings account. You've been looking at my bank statements again.
That is an insanely high number. And that number, that $124 trillion, represents the amount of money that is going to be moving from boomers over to the rest of the generations. Gen X, Gen Alpha, Gen Z, millennials.
Sure. Gen Alpha. Me.
Gen Alpha.
Me.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's right.
Describes us.
Yeah. Yeah, but of that $124 trillion, millennials will get the biggest chunk of that. I think it said like 45 trillion. Estimates are kind of changing, especially as the markets are growing.
Why is that?
Why are the estimates changing?
Why are millennials getting largest cuts as opposed to the other generations?
Just how the generations lined up. Most of millennials' parents are boomers, and the boomers are the ones who are next on the chopping block. Sorry, boomers, we love you. We love some of you.
Canceled.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning into our last podcast.
I think that's one of the most underreported stories in finance right now is this great wealth transfer. It's going to have serious implications down the line, namely around investing. But again, to be able to just trade for your cash flow to support your lifestyle, it doesn't make sense.
It's a lot of risk.
Yeah. It doesn't pass the logic. It doesn't pass the sniff test. Never mind logic. With UBI, it does change the equation. But if you're relying on your UBI check to live, you aren't going to be investing it. So you're always going to have find something that that lets you live, and then your investment should be making you more wealth in the background. You shouldn't be relying on that as a primary source of income.
And if we are learning anything from minimum wage, a UBI would probably not be enough to really do anything but live at a given quality of life. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so people wouldn't have the resources to be out there investing it.
No. But in that interview, Vlad did say something that did pique my interest, and it did make me interested. Here's that clip.
There's been this new phenomenon of retail investors analyzing stocks, and you see them on YouTube and
Right.
and X, and they post these in-depth videos where they go into all the details of a company's financial statement, balance sheet, the news, the stock price movement, and the technicals. And there's been this sort of like story that retail investors are unsophisticated, they don't know what they're doing. Some of these retail investors are more sophisticated than the professional analysts.
Absolutely.
So what he's saying there is and if anyone has the data, it's Robinhood, right? They see how individual investors are investing all the time.
Especially in the retail sector.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I took a position in Robinhood. I bought the stock in April. It's the only stock I bought this year, actually.
Wow.
I bought the stock on March 27th. I put $7,000 into it, and now it's worth $15,000.
Great.
Normally,
Not doing too bad.
that is not normally when I invest. I'm looking at what's
Right.
going to do in
Right.
5 years.
Right.
This just jumped, and it's not going to happen every time.
So the question is, are you going to keep it?
Absolutely, yeah. And I released all of my research on flank investing on why I like the stock.
yeah.
Because I understand Robinhood's business is why I don't fucking trust them. Because I
yeah?
understand how they make money, and they've created this legitimate brokerage where they really do. It is cool. They are trying to democratize finance. They allow you to buy stocks without commission.
Yeah.
They allow you to do they have some really cool advanced features. But then they're taking this legitimate brokerage and they're attaching a casino next to it.
Sure.
And the casino is where they make all the money.
Sure.
And you can see it right in, I'll pull up my research. If we look at how, the first step in the flank methodology is understanding how a business makes money.
Sure.
And if we look at how they make money, it's the number one way, $488 million in 2022, $760 million in 2024 is off of options contracts,
Sure.
which individual investors like you and I, we have I'll draw a clear line here. We should not be buying options.
Okay.
It's a great, if you know what you're doing, you can take a small amount of capital and turn it very quickly into a large amount of
Sure.
capital. But good luck. You are competing against some very, very smart people when you play that game.
Smart people with a lot of time and a lot of money.
And a lot of technology
Right,
too that
right.
can I mean, if you look at a Bloomberg terminal, which is what professional traders use, Bloomberg terminals have weather patterns where they can see if you're looking at something that is shipping a physical good or good somewhere, a Bloomberg terminal will tell you where the cargo ships are that are carrying the goods of what you're looking at and where they're at, and if they're stuck in the Suez Canal or something like that. Like they have so much more data that to play that short-term options game, it is a waste of your time. It's not a waste of your time. Good luck. Like just go if you want to go burn a couple $1,000s trying, go ahead. But then come back to real investing, and you'll actually make real money.
Sure.
It'll take you longer, but if you have to choose between getting money later and not getting money at all,
I'm losing money now.
yeah, which one? Yeah, it's no brainer.
Yeah.
But of course, no one's going to tell you that because that's how they make money.
Right.
That's the whole industry this is public information. The whole industry knows this. You're going to see more and more people beating this drum of options and crypto and all this other crap that just isn't good. But it's great as a shareholder of Robinhood.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So no, AI is not going to make it so that we can all disinvest all day. Number two, Robinhood's going to tell you to keep investing, keep investing, keep investing.
Keep
You're
trading. They don't make a lot of money off of people investing, right? They get a small. Everyone thinks of Robinhood. They think of payment for order flow, right? That was the whole thing during the GameStop scandal, where you would have a market make the individual investor. Elliot buys a stock, buys GameStop stock, and in between when you actually buy the stock, they send that data over to a market maker, and a market maker then bumps up the bid-ask spread by a couple pennies, and they make a couple pennies off of the fraction of the pennies off of that trade. But with high volume, that becomes a pretty big number. That's not the biggest way they make money. That's a fair trade. Payment for order flow, in my opinion, is a fair deal. So I don't have to pay $10 to a brokerage to buy stock.
Right.
I'm willing to know that the trade-off there is payment for order flow.
Sure.
The actual reason why I invested in Robinhood was because of their prediction-based markets. So they're using it's kind of an advanced financial vehicle called, it's futures trading, but they're tying it to an event. They're now looking at letting you trade. I can't even use the word invest here, but they're looking.
I can't even stomach using it.
Yeah, I really can't.
Yeah.
But they're letting you try to, basically say who's going to win the, the presidential race, Kamala or Trump.
DraftKings for Robinhood.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's going to make a shit ton of money for them. But it's not going to be like good luck.
That is going to make a ton of money.
Yeah, you don't need. Yeah, exactly. It's going to make a ton of money for Robinhood.
Right.
The house always 100%.
wins. 100%.
But it's not.
I'm going to make $5 maybe, and
Yeah.
they're going to make millions off of me wanting to make $5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And then I'll lose 10.
Yeah. But because regulation around this stuff is loosening, I see this as a huge growth area.
Yeah.
So this is actually what prompted me to buy back in March.
Sure.
Was that there was a couple regulation changes that greenlit them to really move forward with this.
Nice. Pays off to follow the business.
Pays off to study the business. That's all you got to do. Study the business, and it's fun to study them too, which is also why we released a really cool product update this week on Flank that I'm really excited to talk to you guys about. We all agree that we should be studying businesses,
Absolutely.
right? Like if you're going to invest, if you're going to buy stock, you should actually study the underlying stock.
Right.
If you're not going, unless you're going to just dollar cost average in the S&P 500, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Like we talked about last time with Buffett-style investing, it is imperative that you understand the business to make smart long-term investments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to understand what you're buying, know what you own, and know why you own it.
And there's no problem with not having knowledge of every business in the world, right? You can be really strong in a few areas and still make smart moves that pay off in the long run.
That is exactly the right answer. That's called your circle of competence, right?
Yeah,
That's what Buffett calls your circle of competence.
Yeah, right.
That is the area in which not only do you understand the business. I could say, okay, yeah, I like Labubu's, but do I know?
Oh my God, can I invest? Where do I sign up?
I think Labubu's are publicly traded, but do I know enough about the underlying business that I can predict economically what those future cash flows will look like? No, I don't. It's a trend.
Labubus are going to go away. Mark my words.
Yeah. Yep.
They're not here for the long run.
Yeah. But I bought Robinhood because I've been working on Flank for the last 4 years, and we're also going after individual investors. But instead of trying to juice money from them, we're saying, hey, you can learn how to do this stuff. You should understand the why of investing.
Right.
And no one else is coming after that.
Right.
But doing that, understanding the why, and actually digging into that stuff, it's work. It's hard to do.
Right.
And so we just released Flank Earn. Flank Earn allows you to earn money off of your analysis. And the way, so you know about the flux, right?
I do.
You know, given a flux.
Yep.
So the idea
lots of flux.
you got to give a flux. Flank will make you a better investor. You just got to give a flux. So for those of you who don't know, flux is this thing right here that I'm highlighting. It's a little super upvote that we give every day. I gave my flux today to this post by one of our users named Kat. Every time I give a flux to another post, so as long as I'm a subscriber and he's a subscriber, or the other person's a subscriber, they earn a little bit of money. They earn 50 cents per flux that I give, which equates to 75% of Flank's top-line revenue.
Damn, generous.
Yeah, I mean, that's how much I believe in this. I believe we can create a really good ecosystem if we study businesses and then share that with our community, right? I'd rather hear about a pharmaceutical company from a pharmacist. I would rather hear about, food services. I'd rather hear about how Zen is performing from someone who works in a convenience store and can actually say, yo, that stuff's flying off the shelves right now.
I thought you were going to say from you.
From me, yeah. Actually, speaking of which,
an ad.
Let's take a Zen intermission. This intermission brought to you by your friends at Philip Morris International. I'm currently studying that business. If you'd like to see my analysis on Philip Morris International, you can check it out on flankinvesting.com. And be sure to give me your flux.
We're going to have to put a Surgeon General's warning on this podcast now because of this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for the record, I don't think nicotine's good for you. There's this whole, science bro thing going on where people think that nicotine's like a super chemical for you. I like it. It's addictive. It gives me a little bit of a clears my Yeah, exactly. But I don't think it's good for me. I need to get off of it.
I can't wait to see all this just flood my Instagram feed now that my phone has heard us talking.
I'll talk about
this.
it. Yeah.
I'm gonna get all the articles.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's the idea of flank earn, is that we are very serious. That we are so serious about the idea that you should study businesses, that we are going to give 75% of our subscription revenue to the users, back to the community.
Great.
So check it out if you're interested. Flankinvesting.com. That's all for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, Robinhood was a good stock to buy, a couple months ago. Since it's run up almost 200% since I bought, I'm not buying more
You're not
right
gonna buy
now.
more?
I mean, we're looking at a PE ratio of 52 right now. If you aren't sure what PE ratio is or why it's the most misunderstood metric by individual investors, you'll be seeing that video come over my shoulder right now, and you can check it out. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, everybody.